Greetings, NASCAR enjoyers, and welcome to the Roval, everyone! Yes, the good old Charlotte Roval. Some people like it, some people hate it, and want the Oval to have a second race. But the problem with that is that if they return to the Oval, it wouldn't be unique. What makes the second Charlotte race unique is the fact that it doesn't take place on the Oval. It takes place on the Roval, so yeah. It's not the Coca-Cola 600's little brother anymore. It's its own unique race. Just be glad that you got the Roval at all. 4 people that would represent the Blue Cross would be the ones to give up the command to start their engines. But anyways, the 2025 Xfinity Series race at the Roval begins with CZ jumping to the lead and racing alongside his teammate Justin Allgaier. Justin Allgaier overshot the blind crest and fell back. Corey Day just barely manages to avoid disaster. Phew. Although he might have a blown tire. Zillisch continues to lead while Corey Day battles Uckus for 14th. Brendan Poole also gets into the grass. Austin Hill gets past Almirola for 10th. Harrison Burton is running in 25th while Connor Zillisch now has a 4-second lead gap. There's just no stopping Connor Zillisch. Jesse Love and Carson Quapple battle for 6th. And Harrison Burton has a fuel pump issue. A caution had to be thrown as he was not able to go to the runoff area. Well, not fully. Dang it! Connor Zillisch is one of the many drivers to come down to pit road during the caution as he always decides to flip the stage. Amazingly, Justin Allgaier wins the race off pit road, but Zillisch is still in second. CZ almost got a loose wheel. Phew, close call, but anyways. The caution ends with Nick Sanchez jumping to the lead and holding off Jeb Burton. Zillisch jumps up to third and is right behind Jeb Burton. Holy crapper! He's now in second, and before you know it, he's now in the lead! He cannot be stopped. Jesse Love manages to get past Nick Sanchez. Sam Mayer tries to cut a corner but had to slow down as you would get a penalty if you do that. And just like that, Connor Zillisch wins the first stage of the 2025 Xfinity Series race at the Charlotte Roval, even with a pit stop. That would normally slow him down. Pit road is open and only 2 drivers come down to pit road, but anyways. The second stage begins with Connor Zillisch holding off Jesse Love for the lead and doing a great job at clearing him. Connor Mosack battles Sam Mayer for 10th. And the caution just came out when Sam Mayer was trying to cut the corner and got penalized for it, but anyways. The sudden caution ends with Zillisch continuing to lead. Mayer manages to hold off Mosack. Even with 4 to go on stage 2, Zillisch continues to lead. Several drivers come down to pit road, and Sanchez gets penalized for an incident. Zillisch is next to come down to pit road and gives up the lead to Jesse Love. Jesse Love wins the second stage of the 2025 NASCAR Xfinity Series race at the Roval. But anyway, several drivers come down to pit road and Jesse Love wins the race off of pit road. Sheldon Creed also has issues on pit road. Again, dang it! To make matters worse, Sam Mayer also got penalized for his pit crew jumping over the wall too soon. Oh, come on, he was doing so good until that happened. But anyways, the third and final stage begins with, yep, you guessed it, Connor Zillisch continuing to lead. DT got a penalty after he overshot the corner and tried to cut the corner. Again! Brandon Jones and Jesse Love battle for 17th. Even with some damage, Corey Day still races. With 20 to go, Connor Zillisch continues to lead. Sammy Smith dive bombs Corey Day, but thankfully he's safe as he made it. Phew. Austin Hill is having electrical issues with his car. So far, not much going on aside from Austin Hill's electrical gremlins. Meanwhile, Carson Quapple is trying to hold off Austin Hill. He manages to get past Quapple, but Quapple returns the favor. Even Sam Mayer got past Hill as he started falling behind. Nick Sanchez blew a tire and had to come down to pit road. Mosack is also running in third until he pits in due to a fuel pressure issue. Sammy Smith and Carson Quapple battle for 9th. Sammy Smith had to come down to pit road to get fresh tires, and the caution just came out. Sage Cara blew a tire and it flew off. This is a lucky break for Sammy Smith. Several drivers come down to pit road, but Zillisch stays out as he does not want to lose the race. And good call, by the way. Good call. This time, it makes sense of why he decided to stay out. Allgaier is first to come out of pit road, and electrical gremlins of Austin Hill's car persists. But anyways, the race gets into the green-white checker phase, and it restarts with Zillisch continuing to lead, even when he had to deal with Austin Green. The number 07 car and Brennan Poole get involved, but no caution has been thrown as of yet. Please don't let this ruin Zillisch's race. On the final lap, a late race caution hasn't been thrown. Well, until now. And the race ends under a caution. But to be honest, CZ was still going to win even with the late race caution. The race gets an 8 out of 10, as I always like to see Zillisch win, but it's also one of those races that gets ruined by a late race caution. Still decent race though. Hopefully this won't happen in the Cup Series race. CZ has so many win stickers that he has to start putting them on the bumper, as he got 10 wins! Holy crapper, things have come a long way since his Truck Series debut. Also, Sammy Smith advances to the round of 8 and Taylor Gray got eliminated! Yes! All the Junior Motorsports cars are in, but sadly Austin Hill gets eliminated. But you don't care about that though. You want to see him get eliminated from the playoffs, because there's barely anybody that likes Austin Hill. But for me, seeing all the Junior Motorsports cars advance is a deal breaker and puts a smile on my face. Anyways, here's the Cup Series part of the double feature. Greetings, NASCAR enjoyers, and welcome to the second part of this year's Roval weekend. And we jump straight to the Cup Series. But anyways, this year's Bank of America Roval 400 begins with Reddick jumping to the lead. Wait, what? But Reddick isn't usually that great at road courses. SVG, however, is a road course veteran. He's much better at road courses than he is. I mean, he's a 3-time Supercar champion for dang sake. Hopefully, SVG will get past him. Bushy spins out, but he manages to recover. Gibbs and Busher, aka Prosper Texas, battle for fourth. SVG gets a chance, but isn't able to do so. 2 drivers get penalized for cutting the chicane. Ah, crap. The problem persists with the Cup Series too. Just try to stay on the track, guys. Anyways, SVG finally managed to get past Reddick, and he is where he belongs on the Roval. In the lead. Yes, it's finally time. Shane Van Gisbergen is leading in the Roval. He's where he belongs, man. Where he belongs. AJ manages to get past Briscoe, and Justin Haley also forces Ryan Blaney into the grass. Daniel Suarez is first to come down to pit road. Next to join in is Austin Cindric. Briscoe and several more drivers also come down to pit road. SVG now has a 3-second lead gap over Kyle Larson, who just got past Reddick. Man, not even Kyle Larson can challenge SVG, and that's saying something. More drivers come down to pit road during the green flag pit cycle. And John Hunter Nemechek, aka John Hunter Nematoad, gets penalized for going too fast on pit road. Dang it! Please try to slow down, guys. This is not a freaking race. Yeah, pit road is not a race. You're supposed to slow down on pit road for safety. SVG and Larson both come down to pit road at the same time, meaning that SVG has once again decided to flip the stage, as he usually does. SVG is now in second. He starts cutting away at Prosper Texas's lead gap, and he's in the lead! Holy crapper! He cannot be stopped. That's what I like about SVG. When he's on road courses, he shows his true form. And he's doing better with Trackhouse cars than colleague cars. I don't know why, but for some reason, SVG is much better with Trackhouse equipment than at colleague equipment. As in colleague cars, he doesn't do nearly as well, but in Trackhouse cars, this is where he's at. Busher, AJ, and Blaney pit in to flip the stage. Reddick also decided to pit in during the last of the green flag pit cycles on stage 1. And as expected, SVG wins the first stage of the 2025 Bank of America Roval 400. During the stage caution, we get a promo for the Blood Cancer Foundation that is sponsoring William Byron's car, aka Free Willy's car. Chase Briscoe would also have nausea. Oh no, he's sick. Hopefully he'll get better and another driver could take his place. But anyways, our first race off pit road begins, and Kyle Larson wins the race off pit road. But SVG was so close. And Chastain made a major mistake on pit road. Dang it, he was doing so good. I always hate it when Chastain has trouble on pit road, because if there's any driver that I do not want to see have troubles on pit road, it's him. It's Ross Chastain, the Melon Man. I'm always rooting for him. Hopefully he'll improve. Anyways, the second stage begins with AJ Allmendinger jumping to the lead. SVG also got past Larson. SVG has moved up to 6th. Chastain gets past Briscoe, who should go down to pit road due to his health condition. Larson has Taco Bell, aka Christopher Bell, on his tail. Contact ensues with Briscoe and Chastain, and Cindric locks up and loses control. He gets involved with caution Hocevar, of course. He'll also have to serve his penalty. Both drivers get their tires blown. Thankfully, they are safe. Austin Cindric also got eliminated from the playoffs. SVG got past Reddick and is in 5th while Blaney tries to run down AJ Allmendinger. Blaney comes down to pit road and several more also join in alongside him. SVG is now in 4th. Holy crapper! SVG is in 3rd. Come on, AJ Allmendinger. Don't let Prosper Texas get past you. Especially you're dealing with a freaking champ car driver, man. Prosper Texas is probably some guy who doesn't do much road course racing. Well, he won that racing last year in Watkins Glen, but that's because Shane Van Gisbergen made a mistake. He is forced into a mistake, and he wasn't running nearly as good equipment. As I said before, SVG is better with Trackhouse equipment than he is with colleague equipment for some reason, even though they use the same engines. But I guess Trackhouse's cars are just better. SVG got past Prosper Texas and is now trailing AJ Allmendinger. Hold up, he got past AJ too. Speaking of which, AJ Allmendinger decides to pit in. Prosper Texas is trying his best to hold off Larson. Contact ensues and he does a great job at holding off one of the best drivers in NASCAR, but isn't able to do it. It doesn't matter, as SVG is still too fast at road courses. Yep, even Christopher Bell and Kyle Larson admit that he's just too fast. Prosper Texas, aka Chris Buescher, is starting to fall back. Chastain gets past Free Willy for 12th. Free Willy decides to make a pit stop. Several more join in. SVG and Larson are next to come down to pit road to flip the stage. Blaney is in the lead. Chastain is now 4th. Ah crap, Elliott got past Chastain. Elliott gets past SVG as he is trying his best to conserve his tires. Chastain even tried to get past him. Blaney wins stage number 2 of the 2025 Bank of America Roval 400. But anyways, several drivers come down to pit road during the stage caution and Reddick wins the race off of pit road. Ryan Blaney also had a slow pit stop. But anyways, the third and final stage begins with SVG jumping to the lead. Larson also blocked a passing attempt from Suarez. Taco Bell is right behind SVG. Contact ensues again when Taco Bell tries to get past SVG, who is not going to give up the lead to him. And Austin Dillon hits the tire barrier and causes the first non-stage caution of the day. Several drivers come down to pit road during caution, and this time there will be no race off of pit road. Earlier in the race, Herbst and Ty Dillon had contact, and Herbst ended up blowing one of his tires. Anyways, the caution ends with SVG and Taco Bell battling for the lead. Larson manages to get past Taco Bell. Larson manages to get past SVG on the chicane. SVG fell back to 3rd. I'm just hoping that SVG gets past those two. Herbst gets taken out by Bushy. Prosper Texas comes down to pit road. AJ Allmendinger and a few other drivers come down to pit road. Briscoe is next to come down to pit road. SVG got past Taco Bell, is now in 2nd, and he pits in right when SVG got past him for 2nd. Reddick also makes his pit stop, and his car might catch fire. Larson is next to come down to pit road. SVG is next to come down to pit road. Chastain and Logano come down to pit road. Chastain beats him as he had a much better pit stop. SVG is now in 3rd as Hamlin just pitted in. SVG managed to get past Taco Bell for 2nd. SVG is coming closer to Larson. It just goes to show that you should never mess with a road course ringer. Taco Bell comes down to pit road and has issues on pit road. SVG gets past Larson, and Larson tries to bump him, but you just can't beat him. He's like the Alex Palou of NASCAR, at least when it comes to road courses. And they wanted to beat him. Yeah, they really wanted to beat him, but he's hard to beat, though, on road courses. Larson comes down to pit road. Oh, come on, Chastain got penalized for going too fast off of pit road. Austin Dillon also had issues trying to exit pit road. SVG gets past Bell after he pitted in and is now right behind Larson. Chastain is in 16th. Contact ensues and Larson tries to hold off SVG, but SVG returns the favor and gets the lead. SVG falls back to 3rd, but gets 2nd after he had to back off. Yeah, it was a good move, by the way. Yeah, it's pretty smart of him to do that, because I do not want to see him wreck out. SVG manages to get past Larson after his first passing attempt failed. Yeah, he tried to do a Forza or Gran Turismo style dive bomb on him. Serves you right for trying to mess with a 3-time V8 Supercars champion. Giggles Logano makes a late pit stop. Bell has fallen back to 5th and is no longer a threat to SVG and Kyle Larson. Bell is back in 3rd. More contact ensues with Gilliland and Logano. Larson comes down to pit road. With 7 to go, SVG continues to dominate and puts Ty Dillon a lap down. Larson gets past Prosper, Texas for 3rd. Needless to say, this race is nail-biting. The most nerve-wracking part is SVG's right rear giving up. On the final lap, all SVG has to do is not mess up and take his long-awaited Roval win. Yeah, Larson got past Bell, but it doesn't matter as I just want SVG to win. SVG's car starts smoking. Hopefully he'll take care of his car to take the win. And even with smoke, SVG still won. Yes! But Chastain gets eliminated as Hamlin got past him. Dang it! Oh my good golly. He's in reverse. Yeah, this is something I have to talk about. He did a Talladega Nights, but Logano got past him and he lost his playoff spot. It was unfortunate that Ross Chastain got eliminated from the playoffs and was trying everything he can to stay there, but he just couldn't do it. It's pretty sad for Chastain. I mean, come on. He's the Melon Man. He's the guy that I like to root for the most. The race still gets a 9 out of 10 as SVG had to fight for his win. He had to deal with Taco Bell and Ichiban, aka Kyle Larson. Yeah, Taco Bell is Christopher Bell, by the way. That's the nickname that Michael Moose came up with. It used to be Liberty Bell, but it's now Taco Bell. Another name that has Bell in it. Yeah, Christopher Bell and Kyle Larson. The best part is by 2026, he'll get a chance to tie Jeff Gordon for the record on road courses. Yes, it's finally happened. A driver is going to tie with Jeff Gordon on road course wins. But it'll happen by 2026. Now, that was an amazing race. A lot better than last year's race, but still sad that Chastain got eliminated. It's pretty bad that he got eliminated. You see, this is why I prefer the Roval over the Bank of America 500, aka the Charlotte Oval. Yeah, it's good for the Coke 600, don't get me wrong, it's great for the Coke 600, but I'm sorry, but I do not want a race to be the same thing except with a 100-mile shorter distance. So yeah, that's why I prefer the Roval over the Bank of America 500s, because it's basically the Coke 600 with a 100-mile shorter distance. Nothing special here. Just another cookie-cutter intermediate race. Yeah, some people want the Oval to come back, but I like the Roval. The Roval is one of my favorite tracks in NASCAR because I always like infield road courses because of NASCAR Thunder 2003. But anyways, I'm going to sign off, and here's the last link to last year's race if you want to see it. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell just in case you haven't already done so. Catch you guys next time, and peace out.